Okay, one thing we're going to look out for is any berries that are left by from our last partridge berry bloom. Okay, when we're looking for edibles, we're looking for anything that's not moving, that's small, that's quick and easy to grab. So we're going to grab as many berries as we can. And right now, we got some partridge berries. Remember, 2 indents. That's how we identify. So we'll pick a bunch of these, and we'll go on to the next edibles we see. Okay, I'm just going to point this out. This here is not Virginia creeper. It's not an edible plant. The Indians used it for certain medicinals. Okay, see this yellow flower here? Okay, that is actually cinquefoil. Okay, so if you see a plant, see them real prominent ridges on them leaves, 2 small ones in the back. Your Virginia creeper is a little different than that. Okay, and this is a ground cover. Okay, has a hairy stem. Let's see if I can get in on right there. You see that hairy stem there? Okay, yellow flower, 5 petal like Virginia creeper, but not Virginia creeper, cinquefoil. Okay, here's something that could be of value to us. I'm not going to take any because I'm not making tea today, but you've seen my video on my medicinals, and this here is one of them that I showed you. It is red clover. Okay, red clover, remember, helps with, bronchitis type issues and anything that with the lungs. Okay, now it's always better to dry herbs before you make teas with them. I think we got, there's a little grasshopper on there. I thought I saw something. But you're fine if you just make a tea out of this here, okay? Just go ahead and throw it in, steep it, just like you would if it was dried. But that there is red clover. Okay, notice that the clover's a little bit different. Still has that white mark on the leaves like white clover, but these are more lance-shaped leaves, okay? So if we were in a survival situation, we could pick this to give us some minerals and nutrients that are much needed. Alright, and that's the key. Every little bit helps. So take note of that. Red clover. Make a tea. And here's the note on that cinquefoil. You can see how it really resembles. This is Virginia creeper, by the way, but it's a vine. You can see it's climbing up this root system here. Okay, so the leaves are very similar, but those ones on the cinquefoil are really, really rigidy all the way through, and they're a lot smaller, and they grow on the ground. Okay, and I'm just pointing that out just so you know these plants. That's all. There's really no, this is toxic, can cause dermatitis, just like poison ivy. Not as severe, but it can in certain people. But it is toxic, so you don't want to mess with that too much. But it's just pointing them out so you know the differences. Okay, here we have a bunch of violet oxalis. This here, very easy edible to identify because of the heart-shaped leaves, and easy food for you to grab. Okay, now they say don't eat a lot of it because of the oxalic acid in it, but in a survival situation, grab some, eat it. You're going to be fine. There's a lot of foods with oxalic acid in them, like chocolate. So we're going to pick some of these and include this in our edible walk here. Here's something I've had my eyes open for. Right here we have some jewelweed, okay? And I'm going to be taking that because I need it on my hands. It's springtime here, and well, poison ivy's in full bloom. So I'm just going to take it, I'm going to rub this all over where my hands are getting in these edibles, and hopefully prevent any poison ivy from getting on my skin. Leaves and stems crushed up, rubbed all over you. Okay? So there's hopefully that solution solved, because when you're picking for these edibles, poison ivy's all around them here. There's really no avoiding it. So that's your best bet right there, is doing that, getting that all over your skin. Okay, now plants aren't just the only thing on the easy game list here. So when you get by any type of body of water, you need to be checking for clams, snails, crawfish, fish. If you can get them, they're not that easy. There's a bunch of little ones in here I can see. But we'd have to either get some black walnuts and poison them, but that involves stacking rocks and making a dam almost in the river, and then you poison the water and let it flow downstream, and you just pick them up as you go. You can use black walnut hulls for that, or make a fish trap out of a basket. There's multiple things you can do, but this is about a video about making or getting food an easy way without using a lot of calories. So we're looking for things like I said, crawfish in here. We're going to be looking for clams, and we're going to be looking for salamanders. Okay, salamanders do excrete a poison in their skin, but it's not enough to hurt a human. So we're going to be putting them on the dinner menu. And what you do when you're looking for them is you find rocks like this that are just about out of the water, and right there is one. You got to get to them. There's a couple of them here. Okay, the key is getting them before they get away. They're a lot easier to catch than lizards, so we want to focus on that, because it's not about getting things that are fast and hard to catch. We want to go for the easy to grab meals. Okay, now finding crawfish can be kind of difficult because they blend in quite well. But if you look right there, that's what we're looking for. Okay, you got to be quick with these guys. They're fast. See, he's already on the move. Okay, now we can take him and cook him up for a meal. Okay, find a bunch more of these. We'll add him to the list. And what you do is you dispatch them by just taking the head off real quick, okay? Be humane with this kind of thing. Okay, now here's a salamander, everybody. Now, dispatch this animal quickly. Just take its head right off. That'll be an instant kill and humane kill. I'm not about people who hunt for trophies and hunt as a sport. It's for food for me, okay? And that goes for anything, even if it's small. Alright, I'm all about being humane about things. So once you get your salamander, they're tricky, you know. They'll slip right out of your hand. They'll put up a fight, okay? So you got to be the hunter. Alright, take the head off, and then we're going to gut this animal, okay? And you do that by just simply making a slice in the gut cavity here and pulling all that out. You can take your finger and squish all the poop out and everything, and then we're going to skewer it, roast it over the fire. Okay, we get up in here, break this little chunk of pine sap off. Okay, we can actually use that to get a little bit of sugars in us, okay? Okay, if you're going to eat pine sap, you just want to take some pure sap like this right here, and just sparingly, okay? It's going to get stuck in your teeth. It doesn't taste, depending on what pine sap you have. I've had pine sap that's so bitter it makes my tongue twist. This isn't too bad. But it's going to, like right now, it's stuck in my teeth. So what you want to do is just take a little bit at a time, swallow it, take another piece, chew it, swallow it. Pine sap. Okay, when you're digging around in these rocks, you might also find some earthworms, okay? They are edible, but you also need to make sure that you cook them, okay? They do carry parasites, especially like more on a playground and stuff. Out here you're probably fine, but you should boil them, okay? We're going to cook them up with everything else. Good old earthworms. And you'll find them here just digging around in these rocks like this right here. This is where I found these guys. I found a couple right here. Flip over some rocks, dig through some earth, and you might find some earthworms in there, okay? Okay, and just like in Florida, we also got them here, okay? You can feel that none of these spikes up here are sharp. Breaks off right there. We got some greenbrier, okay? Remember, it just tastes like asparagus. You can see a couple more up there, so there's another wild edible we can gather on the way. Okay, you also have the option of digging around in the ground like so. Okay, if you look down here, you see that grub in a C formation? That's a June bug grub, okay? Those are edible. So we're gonna go ahead and pick him up. I've been digging around for a while. That's all I was able to find was one. I'm gonna dig for a minute more and see if I can't find something. But hey, every little bit counts, okay? In a very short amount of time, I've gathered a pretty good amount of food, so that's what matters. We're just looking for something to give us sustenance. And even June bug grubs, which don't look very appetizing, but they are edible. In some places around the world, they're a delicacy. Okay, here's a nice little find. We got some sassafras here, okay? And it's not an edible, but we can make some tea with it to go with all our edibles. And what we want to do is, what do we got here? Some tubers. You know, right next door we got some rattlesnake plantain. But we want to dig down and get this root out. And you know, it's said that this is carcinogenic. But so the same carcinogen that's in this is also in beer. You know, and people drink quite a bit of that. So I think it's safe to say having a glass of sassafras tea is not going to do too much harm to you. Okay, looks like I'm going to have to grab something to dig with this, but I'm going to dig this root out and I'll show you that afterwards. They used to flavor this with root beer. One way you can tell is just smell it. It has a real unsweetened root beer kind of smell to it, kind of a licorice type smell. So I'm going to go ahead and get this up quick and then we'll go ahead and cook our edibles up. Okay, so I'm sitting here and I got all the berries and the shoots, grub, oxalis, sassafras root out here, okay, red bark, smell it, it's got that smell to it, okay, got all this stuff sitting here, and now we just need to start a fire. We need to prepare our crayfish and stuff. We're going to get some water boiling. We don't want a lot of water because we want to just get it boiling and cook these things. We're going to do a couple changes of water on the worms. We want to get them to purge. And then we cook them up and skewer the grub over this, and we're ready to go. Now with these grubs, what you want to do is just take the head, you want to just kind of give it a yank. Okay, you don't want the head, and you squeeze all the guts out and everything. Get it to purge, get it to poop all the guts out. Okay. And that is prepared and ready to be put on the fire. And then the rest, we want to get our crayfish and all that ready, so I'm going to dump the water that's in there out. And then we're going to keep our worms in there and everything. We'll dump all this stuff out and get it ready. And I'm going to get some water in here, get this fire going. I'll come back with you in just a second. Okay, when you got these salamanders, you just make a slice from down by the tail where the poop sack is and all the way up to the breast. Make sure you get all that out. Then you're going to end up with something that looks like a fish fillet. Okay? You just want to get all that gunk out of there, okay? You don't want none of the poop and the guts in there or anything. Get all that out. You're ready to go. Cook them up. Okay, I'm just going to give you guys a quick look here. You can see we just got them crawdaddies skewered on here. We got our salamander skewered on there. Worms are in here, and there's just a small amount of water in the bottom just to get them guys to purge, okay? That's where the problems come. So we'll get them to purge, and then I got a flat rock laying up here that was dry. I pulled it from up high because you don't want water in it or it'll explode like a bomb. And we'll fry them worms after the fact, and that's what we'll do with our little June bug grub. So we'll let this start cooking here, and in the meantime I'll start to enjoy some oxalis and some berries and greenbrier shoots. Okay, while you're sitting there waiting for that to cook, you can just start to nibble on your oxalis. Okay, lots of berries here. Okay, I got a pretty bountiful amount here. You know, I can grab a handful of these things and pop them in my mouth, and that's what you want. The point of this video is to give you an idea of what you can find in Tennessee, but also, you know, and all these things were found within very small range of each other, okay? So don't think that this was, you know, gathered all over the place. This is all within a little range of each other, okay? So you have to be thinking of that, and it's also to show you 90% of your cultures around the world that still live in this manner of the hunter-gatherer, their lives depend on gathering, okay? They don't just hunt big game and that's what they eat all the time. It's the berries, it's the plants, it's the small critters like crawdads and things like that that keep them alive, because they're in abundance, they're plentiful, and they're easy to catch, okay? So you have to be thinking of that. You know, in a survival situation, it's not going to be where you get to eat all you want. You know, you're not just going to go find a cheeseburger and eat it till your belly's full. You're going to nibble here, and you're going to nibble there, and that's what's going to be. You know, I got one salamander and what, four little crawdads, and I got a little June bug grub, okay? Bunch of oxalis, greenbrier shoot. I don't have a lot of food. It's not going to make my belly really full, but it's going to keep me going to the next moment, okay? And that's what it's about. You need to keep going, keep your body going until that next find, because you're hoping that survival situation is not going to last forever. So it's important to know the little things. Don't just rely on big game to keep you alive. I hadn't seen one squirrel, one raccoon, one snake. I haven't seen any of that, and I've walked around here all day, you know, looking for little edibles and such. So you can't rely on those things. So get to know little gathering tips like this right here, and you might find some things that are pretty delicious. I like oxalis. I like partridge berries. I know I can find them if I'm looking for them. And also, when you're looking for these things, don't pass them up thinking, well, that maybe there'll be some up there a little further, because you might get there and realize, wow, I just gave up a handful of partridge berries and now I have nothing to eat. Okay, so you got to be wise with the way you do things. You see it, get it. Don't wait. I'm telling you, y'all got to try some oxalis. This stuff ain't bad. It tastes pretty good. I've eaten this stuff in Michigan, Florida, and here in Tennessee. Now your crawdads, you'll know that them are done when they turn real red, okay? Just like a lobster, crayfish, or anything like that. See, our water's starting to get hot. That's what we want. So I'm going to tuck this guy right down in here. And give our salamander a rotation. Give our shrimp, or our, keep saying shrimp, I feel like I'm in Florida. Our crawdads a rotation here. You can see they're already turning pretty red, so that means they're getting close to being done. Water's starting to boil here. Once that boils, we're going to get our hot rock ready. I'm going to get this heated up real good for us. See, we got our little tiny June bug grub hanging out down there. Basically, you just got to keep nibbling on on your berries and whatever greens you gathered. Okay, because usually a survival situation means you're limited on time. So it's not going to really be like right now, where I'm just sitting here, you know, having a good old time eating edibles. You're going to be limited on time. So, what you want to do, eat while this is cooking. Keep your fire going, don't let it go out. Make sure this stuff's going to be cooking efficiently. Be moving your skewers around, making sure that everything's cooking, so you can get back to work, okay? I'm sure you got shelter to build. You've got water to find. If it's not around, obviously I have a little stream right here in front of me. But there's things that come into play when you're doing this, okay? And part of that is there's no time to do anything. When I was in Michigan, I like to put myself in them survival kind of scenarios to test that out. And the hardest thing was finding time to eat, find food, find water, build shelter, make a fire, you know, and I would do it where I would have absolutely nothing out there but my knife. And there's no time for stuff like on TV where you're going to be making canoes and rafts and you're going to be, you know, building Taj Mahal shelters. There's no time, no energy. It's not that easy, okay? It really is a difficult task to do, and you need to use your time wisely, okay? Because you will run out of time. And if you don't have a shelter built, you will be sleeping under a tree on the ground, and you're not going to sleep at all, okay? Trust me, I've experienced it. It's not pleasant sleeping on the ground with no shelter. Michigan doesn't have as many creepy crawlies as Florida and Tennessee, but it doesn't get warm at night there. And if you've ever tried to sleep in the cold, you know that you aren't going to sleep. You'll be up the whole night shivering, doing squats, doing, you know, jumping jacks, whatever you got to do to stay warm. These berries, man, I'm telling you. I like partridge berries. They almost have a hint of sweet to them. Mix that with oxalis, and you got a not so bad little meal. And all I had today was breakfast to just kind of show myself, if I'm hungry, what's it going to be like finding edibles. Am I going to miss some things? Am I going to not see things because I'm hungry? Now I am hungry right now, which is why I'm sitting here eating this. Sometimes it's just the psychological effect of it, putting something in your mouth and chewing it. Okay, I do these things to not only just show you guys, but to teach myself what it takes. Okay, and that's what you got to do. You got to test yourself. You got to try things. You got to push yourself, and that's what makes you a good survival instructor, or makes you just able to survive in nature. It gives you that outdoor wisdom, and that's what you got to have. Okay. Okay, crawdaddies are done. Got my worms on the fry pan right now, and the little June bug grub, which is right there next to that worm. And got our crawdaddies up here. It's cooling down. Laid the salamander on the fry pan, just make sure he's cooked good, and then we're ready to chow. Okay, guys, and that's it for cooking up some chow out here in the wilderness. With these, you just want the tails. The tails are good, have all that meat in them. Yep, peel that out. Get rid of that little vein in the center. On your crawdads, and then you're left with this nice white meat. Okay? Now, like I said, if you don't find much, that's alright. The key is to find something to give you a little bit of sustenance, okay? That's what you're looking for out here. You're not looking for huge meals. You're gonna pick all day. That's what you're gonna do. You're not gonna find a whole bunch of food. You're not gonna find everything you're thinking of. Okay, salamander. You just gotta eat it. It's not terrible. It's meat. Like I said, the skin on these do secrete a poison. Not enough to hurt you though. So if you're in a survival situation, this is what you got. Eat it. Just cook it. Cook it more than you would cook at home, okay? Don't go for the medium rare out here, because that's when you'll end up getting sick. Just cook everything like a brick. Now, when I say that, I guess I should be careful saying that, because you little oxalis, wash it down. You don't want to overcook food. If you overcook food, it loses all its nutritional value, okay? So when I say that with a step backwards a little bit, because you don't want to overcook your food. You know, when you cook your food, just cook it, blacken the outside, check the meat. Is the meat steaming and falling apart and everything? It's probably good, okay? Any type of meat you find, you want to do that. You don't want to just go cooking it till it's, you know, oh, I like my meat medium rare, I don't like it cooked a lot. Well, out here you kind of have to deal with it. That's just the way it is. These crawdaddies, man, they're good. It's not much meat, but it's a little. It's something. That's right, I got my earthworms here all fried up. Again, it's not much, but it's something. Good and crunchy. Now, with them earthworms, I told you, purge them, because eating them raw like you see people eat, yeah, more than likely you'll be fine, but it just takes that one. You eat that one that's got problems, then you got problems, okay? So be wise in doing that. Purge your, you know, boil them up. June bug grub, that thing was tiny. I ate him. They don't taste bad. June bug grubs are pretty good, and the actual June bugs themselves are pretty good. So you can think about eating those. Obviously, there's none out here right now, but during that month of June, they are all over your house, especially in Michigan. Okay, we still got that sassafras root here. I'm gonna save this for another day, and I'll shoot a video on that and make some sassafras tea. You might have already had some, but I wanted to show you that just so you know. I'm gonna bring this home with me and make some tea later. But I'm gonna get out of here. I just wanted to give you guys a quick look at what you can eat out here, okay? It's important to learn the small things. Everyone knows you can eat all mammals. All mammals are edible, okay? There's only like 2 or something in the world that are not. A certain, you know, that eat certain things, and certain glands, certain parts of them aren't edible, you know, because they eat poisonous this or poisonous that. That's the only exceptions, but around here, your mammals are edible, okay? Now, obviously, fat at 3,500 calories per pound is what you want. Meat, 1,500 calories per pound is what you want. So those little things are good. Well, our salamanders and our crawdaddies were meat, so it's offering me more than the oxalis and the berries. But, you know, vegetables and stuff are only about 100 to 200 calories per pound, so it's not much. You have to eat a lot to truly give you some energy. But, like I said, in a survival situation, it's all about what you take in at minimal amounts to get you to that next place, that next level, that next step to getting out, getting rescued, keeping your mind functioning right, because that saying 90% mental, 10% physical is very true. If you don't have the mental capability to keep going and keep pushing, you're going to die, okay? You're going to crawl next to a tree and you're going to stop doing things and you're going to die. You're going to be like, I'm hungry, I don't want to do this anymore. Well, you have to. Okay, and these are the little things that are going to keep you going. You're going to find that salamander and you're going to eat it, and it's a victory for you, okay? Yeah, it stinks when you have to take the life of another animal, but would you rather write a letter to your home saying, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to let this salamander live and I'm going to perish, okay? That's basically what you're doing mentally. You're telling yourself that salamander means more to me than my own life. That's what you're saying if you can't take the life of an animal to eat it. Alright? You need to be wary of those things, okay? You need to have that mental mindset where, okay, I have to take the life of an animal if I'm going to survive. That's what you got to do, okay? I know it stinks. I don't like killing them animals. I think they're all beautiful. All animals are. They're all interesting to me. I love videoing them and giving wildlife videos like the one in Florida. I'm working on one for here. And it stinks when you have to take their lives. But I also deer hunt. I love deer. I think they're great. They're awesome to watch. But I gotta eat. And I'm not going to have someone else kill that food for me. Okay? So this was kind of just a video just to give you guys an idea of little things you can munch on, some wild edibles you can grab along the way. Those are the ones I found. There's obviously more, but you got to eat what you can find, okay? Keep your head on a swivel and keep your mind open to ideas of what to eat. You know, I didn't find any clams, but I found some crawdads. I didn't find any frogs. I did see one, but he got away. You can eat frog legs. There's a lot of little things that you can pick at and cook and eat out here, okay?